I, 26 male, have been engaged to Kelly, 26, for a year and together for 2.5 years. She has a younger sister, Brittany, 24. Brittany was dating Justin when I met Kelly. I became buddies with Justin through the sisters. We game a lot together. So Brittany is in grad school and Justin works full-time. The sisters have a mom, but she lives across the country and isn't all that reliable. So on Monday, Kelly gets a call from a frantic Brittany. She said that Justin had broken up with her and she found all her stuff packed up in the garage. She was crying and Kelly assured her that she could stay with us. Brittany has another year of school, then she's done. I wanted to get the full story, so I called up Justin. He asked me to come over. When I got there, he showed me everything. It was messed up. Basically, Brittany had been cheating and financially abusing him. She convinced him to take out many loans to help her with her schooling. He paid for her car and everything for her. Brittany was planning to leave him the second she graduated. I read all the text myself. She talked to another guy about moving in together the day after she graduated. She had it all planned out. She admitted to using Justin multiple times. I told him he's lucky he got out when he did, that he dodged a bullet and that Brittany was dead to me. So I go back to my fiancée with everything, and now she's mad. But she doesn't want her sister to be homeless and wants her to finish school. But I told her that her sister wasn't welcome in my home, because if she could be that sadistic to someone she claimed to love, then what would she do to me? How could I possibly trust someone like that in my home? So Kelly paid for a hotel for her sister for a couple of days. I gave her the idea of paying for an apartment for her sister if she didn't want her homeless, but that the money needs to come from her account, not our joint one. We have a joint account for expenses and personal accounts for fun, but she's complaining about this because that would basically be all of her fun money for the month. We live in a high-rent area. I told Kelly that her sister is her responsibility at this point. Brittany could drop out of school and get a job, but she isn't getting any charity from me. So here's where we're at. Brittany's at a hotel, Kelly's angry at me now, and I'm not budging. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She can go to the guy she cheated with since she planned to move in with him anyway. Why does she need to live with you guys if she plans to live with Mr. Wonderful in a year anyway? Like you said, if she can betray and use her boyfriend in such a manipulative and disgusting fashion, what will she do to you since you're nobody to her? That's the best part of the whole thing. The dude, Mr. Wonderful, blocked her. She tried to talk to him about moving in and he said, nah, I don't think he ever actually planned for her to move in. LOL, you're right, that's the best part. She wanted out of the relationship but was planning on squeezing every last dollar from her boyfriend before she left, and the guy she was cheating with wanted nothing to do with her. So bring it up to your girlfriend that the last thing you want is for your relationship to suffer when her sister tries to screw you over. Yeah, I wouldn't put myself in a position to be taken advantage of. Hopefully your fiancé will get over it, but the hotel and first month's rent for an apartment are more than enough help from you all. She can go to work and go to school. Many people do it. But also, I won't be surprised if your fiancé feels she needs to move out with her sister for a while. If they're so close, your fiancé probably knew what her sister was doing, even if not all the gory details, not that she'd ever admit it to you. Not the idiot, but as others have pointed out, with your fiancé and her sister being so tight, so important to one another and so involved, you might want to look at your relationship and ask yourself if your fiancé didn't potentially know anything about this. Sister told lies that her boyfriend assaulted her, threatened her, etc., when he ultimately wanted to kick her out for cheating. Break up, OP, because these two will manipulate and kick you out. Anything could happen. My wife, 27, and I, 27 male, are expecting a baby girl by June. We both agreed we wanted to know the baby's gender just for curiosity since she's our first baby. We've been together for 8 years and married for 2. We've had the baby talk before and we discussed how many we plan on having, where, how far apart in age we would like them to be, etc. Names hadn't been an issue until we found out the gender. I love the name Juliet for a baby girl, but my wife says she doesn't want any traditional girl or boy's name. She wants a gender-neutral name in case our kids ever decide they want to transition. I agree that there are some beautiful gender-neutral names like Riley, for example, but even that name she says has become more female-representing. I mentioned that most people who transition end up changing their names to one they identify with, so even if we were to give them a gender-neutral name, they might end up changing it. I also mentioned some people change their names just because they want to. My grandma's one of those people, and I used her as an example, but she won't budge. Wife kind of threatened to not give me a choice and will tell nurses and doctors beforehand to not ask me for the baby's information for the birth certificate. I feel it's ridiculous, and the name shouldn't take away any rights or opinions on my baby girl. I just need to know. Am I the idiot for not choosing a gender-neutral name for our baby girl? Not the idiot. Take it from a trans person, your wife is very much overthinking this. Your kid can always change her name whenever she feels like it, so picking a name to be gender-neutral won't matter that much. This is worrying to me. Your child is not even here yet, and she's already threatening to cut you out of a very important part of the baby's life because you won't do what she wants. Also, I've never heard of anyone giving a child a gender-neutral name if they want to transition. Like, who is even thinking of that before a child is born? I think some serious counselling should be in order because I would be worried about her projecting something she wants onto your child. Although some parents think they're being helpful by guiding a child from an early age to not identify with their gender, that is no more helpful than forcing a female who prefers pants, short hair and no makeup into dresses and highlights. This is an actual issue that needs to be addressed before the child is born. Opie's wife is manipulative and that's not good. Today it's about the name, and she's threatening to cut him off of his rights, which I don't think should be her decision, getting him out of the delivery room, yes, but not allowing him to name his own child? No. What will be next? This is a huge red flag and it should be discussed thoroughly, and maybe even with a counsellor, therapist or a lawyer. Also, if the wife doesn't agree with you, I think it's time to rethink if it's right to create more children with a manipulative person who won't listen to you. Why stop at just gender? What happens if the kid decides to convert to another religion? She should probably give her a religion-neutral name so it will be suitable whatever religion the child decides to take, just in case. It blows my mind the wife is making such a huge argument over something that might happen a couple of decades from now. My 42 female cousin, 40 female, sometimes stays at mine and my husband's vacation home, like an hour away from our town. My mother also lives there regularly. Sometimes my mother will take my daughter to the vacation home when my daughter has no school. My daughter is a tween. My cousin has 2 daughters as well. One is a pre-tween and another one a toddler. This time my cousin stayed at the vacation house during the Christmas period. Unfortunately, due to my and my husband's work schedule, we couldn't have time off during Christmas, so my daughter went to stay there with my mom and my cousin and her kids. Recently, we started talking about summer plans, and my daughter said she doesn't want to go to the vacation home if my cousin and her kids are also there during summer. After I asked her to explain, my daughter told me that my cousin would always yell at her and force her to babysit the kids so she could smoke, watch TV or be on her phone. She would also ban my daughter from doing her interests. My daughter loves gaming and we bought her first gaming PC, which she brought with her to the vacation house. My cousin apparently banned my daughter from playing on a PC because she's giving a bad example to her kids and that as long as she's around, my daughter is not allowed to play games. My daughter also told me that one night she was watching Lord of the Rings and my cousin's oldest daughter saw some scenes, got scared and started crying, and that night my cousin forced my daughter to give away the DVDs of the movie and banned her from watching TV or movies without her permission. I confronted my mom and asked her why she didn't do anything about any of this, and she said she wasn't aware because my cousin probably did all these when my mom wouldn't be present. I had a hard time believing that, but my mom apologized to my daughter and me. I called my cousin and cussed her out for how she treated my daughter, and I reminded her that she's only a guest at a house my husband and I own, and it's also my daughter's house, and she has no right bossing around my daughter. She apologized at first, but then defended herself, saying that she's also responsible for my daughter as an adult, and she did what she thought was best. My husband and I decided to give her one more chance, but told her she'd be banned from being a guest if she did this again. My mom and my cousin both called us idiots and said we should just accept the apology she gave instead of threatening to ban her. Not the idiot, your house, your rules. Does cousin or mom pay any of the house expenses? Power, water, gas, internet? If they don't, they are both guests and need to be reminded of that. They can call you an idiot all they like, but in the end, you have the final say on who stays. Let's be honest, your cousin didn't apologize to you or your daughter. She accepted that you were angry with her, then justified what she did. Your daughter can't use your vacation property because of your cousin's abuse. That alone, the fact you decided you can't trust them, means they shouldn't have access at all. Frankly, given your mother's reaction in calling you an idiot, I'd tell her she's on thin ice being allowed to stay there ever again if she keeps defending your cousin. Your cousin doesn't deserve a second chance, but if you feel like you have to give her one because she's family, install security cameras. OP, change all the locks and don't give anyone keys. See how fast your mom comes running to grovel and apologize for letting your evil cousin hurt your daughter. After all the grief they're causing, you could just ban them from going there for a while. In the end, it's a privilege you've bestowed on them and not a right, family or not. My girlfriend is diagnosed with OCD. She's medicated and in therapy. She tells me that it used to be worse before and she's doing so much better now. One thing she absolutely doesn't compromise on is her apartment. She cleans it on a schedule and cooks and does the dishes on time. She loves my cooking. I pack her leftovers most of the time so she doesn't have to worry about cooking or cleaning. The pipes burst in my apartment and the landlord needed a few days to fix the pipes and the floors. The landlord paid me a week's hotel pay, but my girlfriend insisted I should save the money by staying with her. We've been together a year and this could be a trial run for us moving together in the future, so I agreed. She had a lot of rules about cleanliness. I'm a pretty clean person too, so those weren't that hard to accommodate. Things were fine and everyone was happy. However, one day I was supposed to make dinner and I had to fix a critical problem at work. So I sent her a text, she didn't pick up my calls, saying that I couldn't make dinner and that she should either cook or bring takeout. I work from home, she doesn't. I'm in a meeting with my boss's boss and my entire team, and she keeps banging on my door saying that I promised to make dinner. I muted myself and opened the door and spoke to her. She didn't see that text and she insisted that I have to cook dinner. I told her that I was in a meeting and went back. She kept banging the door. I was so embarrassed and mad that I ended up just packing my bag and leaving to the nearest hotel without a word and continued my work there and spent the night there. The next day she kept saying that I was a jerk and a slacker. She told everyone that I promised to cook her dinner and flaked. This made me angrier and we got into a fight. She told me that it's not wrong to expect what was promised. She likes to plan ahead and have a schedule, and I shouldn't make promises if I cannot keep them. I told her that stuff happens, and I can't always plan every second of my life. My friends are on her side and think I should have done something to calm her down instead of locking myself away. They told me that I know she likes routine and disrupted it and discarded her hurt feelings. I don't think I'm the idiot here. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and consider yourself lucky to have a glimpse of your potential future. You did the responsible thing. You called, and when those went unanswered, you texted, giving her enough time to come up with a solution. Instead, she kept banging on the door even after you asked her to stop, disrespecting you, and she could have possibly gotten you into trouble with your bosses as it was in an important meeting. Not the idiot, you had an urgent work issue and communicated a change in the plans. If your girlfriend's OCD is so severe that she can't regulate her response to unexpected change, then she needs a lot more treatment before she's ready to live with someone. I find it hard to believe she'd react like this with her friends, co-workers or boss. To reflect on why she thought it was okay to react this way with you. Many people like to use the fact that they have a mental condition as an excuse for crappy behavior. However, the truth is you can be mentally ill and an idiot at the same time. Also, while I understand that the breakdown in itself at the moment can be unavoidable if you have an illness and is not a choice, but she should immediately work on this, lying to family, friends and painting OP as a monster is not a symptom. It's her choice, and in my opinion, is the real problem with all this. I, 45 female, was recently contacted out of the blue by my cousins John, 47, daughter Emily, 23, who wanted to meet more of his family after he's been no contact with all of us since his wedding about 25 years ago. He was furious with her when she found the rest of the family and forbade further contact unless we all apologized for walking out of his wedding 25 years ago. John was engaged to Rachel for about 2 years, and she was very lovely and sweet. All the family loved her and really tried to make her feel like a part of the family. They'd come to holidays and birthdays for all the family, and we threw a party for her on her birthday. We didn't hear from them in the month or two leading up to the wedding, but we figured they were just busy with last-minute planning, and none of us were in the wedding party. On their wedding day, all of us, about 20 cousins, aunts and uncles, his parents were deceased, turn up at the venue to see signs for John and Kristen's wedding. We thought we were in the wrong place initially, until John came out and confirmed that it was the right wedding hall. John said that he called off the engagement with Rachel about a month prior after reconnecting with an old flame, and they decided to use the date to get married instead. We were all confused and upset, and while John was trying to calm everyone down, I went and used the venue's phone to call Rachel. She said that she caught John cheating with Kristen 2 weeks before and ended things right then. She also said that John had refused to cancel what they could for the wedding and get back what money they could. Instead, he used them towards this new wedding with Kristen. Most of the family and I then walked out, saying that we would not stay for this bait-and-switch wedding, especially after he treated Rachel so horribly and him not even telling anyone that he was marrying someone else. He said that it shouldn't matter who he was marrying and that we had to stay and support him as a family. We didn't, so he hasn't spoken to any of us for 25 years. Am I the idiot for walking out of the wedding and not apologising? Not the idiot. Emily is 23 and doesn't need her dad's permission to know the family. John is a bad person who has no right to demand anything from anyone. You were right to walk out on his wedding. I hope Rachel went on to live a happy life and that John and bride number 2 ended up miserable. I hope all the gifts were engraved with John and Rachel's names. The combo of not telling anyone prior and essentially stealing cash from his ex to pay for his replacement wedding is a pretty hearty crap sandwich. I don't blame you one bit for refusing to be a party to it. Curious though, did his marriage to Kristen last? I assume from dates and ages. She is Kristen's daughter. Yes, she is their daughter and they are still together, but I don't know much more than that. She did ask directly why none of us have talked to her father in 25 years. I told her it was his choice and why. She's upset with her parents, but we kind of put that aside in our own conversation so far, as that's between her and her parents. So we're just focusing on our relationship with Emily and are planning to have lunch soon.